Alright, crackheads, let's get down to business. There's been people within listening distance for the past as long as I can remember since I've recorded, which is over 2 weeks ago, okay? Not for a lack of content or lack of inspiration, plenty of those. And that, bro, today, the story itself, bananas. This whole saga we're about to get into, even bananas are. My spring of 2024, particularly the latter half, I decided it would be ample time to go on this shroom binge and just trip like every 2 or 3 days, no matter where the fuck I was at. I did it at work, I did it at school, I did it at family functions. Shit, I tripped out like sitting in between my mom and my grandmother. Like, I've geeked everywhere, and it changed so much of my perspective on like life and substances and substance use. I learned a lot of lessons about like how to take substances and about shrooms themselves, and it's so fascinating to me. In essence, I hope y'all drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe because I know you haven't. And let's get right freaking into it. I'm zooted. I took some dabs. Bro, this puck, it's supposed to be like THCA diamonds in a THCA sauce, right? But this shit's like glue with bits of dry glue in it. Like, it's literally like sticky soup. Like, you can move it around the puck, and granted, the puck is like 3 grams. But like, that's just wild to me to have that much freaking sauce. Like, I don't know. I'm having a marvelous time. Yeah, you get the point. Anyways, let's get into the story. Where I'm gonna start was like the first time I had ever gotten shrooms, right? Basically, when this all started, a bunch of like circumstances that all lined up together perfectly to set this off. And honestly, I think if you look through my channel and like other things of like why I haven't had some massive disaster up to this point, it's truly just like coincidental. Like, dude, I'm white, you know? Like, the cops might not care as much if they see the crackhead like driving with the pipe in his hand. Maybe the cop doesn't care as much. I'm like ripping the bong while driving with my knees. Like, hey, who knows? Like, I've had some close calls. All I'm going to say is this was very unplanned, and the way that it panned out was nothing like I had imagined whatsoever. Like I said, I was at work one day, doing my thing, minding my business, potentially dicking around. And I happened to have my phone in my pocket. I usually don't, which is why it stood out to me. And I remember like I had forgotten to put my phone in my pocket, so I'd like hit a U-turn to like go put around, put my phone back in my locker. I looked down and I got a text from my buddy, who we're gonna call Solo, right? Me and Solo are fabulous friends, and we get fucked up like multiple times a week together. It's kind of our thing. We do have other shared interests. Anyways, me and Solo hang out a lot, and we know a lot about like each other's interests, and we'd have a conversation multiple times up to this point of what substance would you do? Because like at this point in time, we're very new into psychedelic and just overall drug exploration and education. But I just was very interested in getting whatever I could as soon as I could. But the issue was we couldn't find plugs for shit. He put me on to a couple of head shops that didn't charge, and like they sold pucks and pre-rolls and different concentrates. Like, you couldn't buy bud, but shit, you could definitely buy kratom, and I think you could buy like shroom spores for experimental research. You were supposed to say that part, but they really did not give a damn. They openly told me about that program. Not a program. When I walked in and deadass just asked the guy at the counter if he had any gummies or chocolate or just straight up mushroom. And he was like, nah, bro. We got the grow your own DIY version. And I was very intrigued, but the practicality of waiting 2 weeks to grow something that potentially might fuck up, like it was just not an option to me. Like, I do not have a green thumb. I will destroy any planet or plant I touch. I am not Galactus. Back to what I was saying. Solo hits me, says, hey, do you want some shrooms? He gives me the name of a coworker whose baby daddy was a plug for weed for a little bit, but really her baby daddy was the shroom plug for a hot minute, and she was our connect. So he tells me the name of this coworker. We're gonna call her Esther. And Esther and I had like hit it off from the get-go. She was the first person I had ever seen stoned at work. I didn't think that was a possibility, given that there was a like very big drug-free workplace sign on the door leading out to the floor. I mean, or on the wall out leading to the floor. I mean, like, shit. I thought that this place was under lock and key and that everyone was observant and or a snitch. I mean, I just did not want to risk it. But 2 weeks in, I had seen her zooted out of her goddamn mind. And I, like, from then on, took that as my excuse and, like, motivation. I wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to be able to get fucked up on every shift that I could. And that is what I did. But this day, Solo hits me up, says Esther got these Shroom chocolate bars and she's selling 2 for $50 or 1 for $25. So I hit him back and I said, yo, Cash App? ? He sends me back the thumbs. I've already sent the 25 over. I go back, I drop my phone off. By the time I had like gotten to this point in the conversation, I had already made it back into the locker. But I was so fucking giddy, like I was jumping up and down damn near. I was gonna get to trip, and up to this point I hadn't gotten that opportunity. But shit, $50 is $50. At this point I would have paid $100 just for one trip, and this was supposed to be multiple because we were each gonna get our own bar, right, in theory. So basically I'm so excited I can't be bothered enough to obey the rule and put my phone back in the locker. I just slip mine in my pocket, walk back out, go find Solo, and just immediately start berating him about like all that he knows, rapid firing, like, hey, are they actually psilocybin? 2, how many dosage? Blah, 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 blah. You get the point. Like I was just going at it, and just like a bunch of like really like petty asshole things. But I was so excited. I was like, I want to know this. Like I know the innards of my girl. Like I want to know this. Like Einstein with 2 + 2. So he just like takes it all in and just like, yeah, it's psilocybin and I'm not right sure about the dose. And the reason I was concerned is because I had bought some gummies at the head shop that I frequented, and they notoriously like were not, they were like mood booster gummies or something, you know, like it didn't do anything. It just tasted bad and it had a poor quality like texture. I wouldn't recommend, not even for the strong of heart. Not worth it. It might make you weak of heart, just saying. Anyways, Esther isn't there at that point, which I like quickly realized when he tells me he doesn't have the bars. I like asked him, he's like, oh yeah, it's just like 30, 45, maybe an hour. And you know, like she came on her own time. Esther came on her own schedule. She got there when she did, and it might have been closer to 2 hours, but we're not gonna say much because I still tripped balls and she was a really solid plug until like we lost contact. But like, back to the point. Some time passes by. I continue to do my job. I grab some carts. I take care of the trash. I take the extra return stuff that's broken and needs to be returned to the manufacturer. I put that in its assorted bin and yada yada. Life's all good and merry. I watch Esther come in and I see like Solo like just not giving a fuck and just like leaving the self-checkout just to like go and just walk around the store. And I took that as a sign to self-volunteer, become the self-checkout appointee, which, you know, I had to. I'm just kidding. Like, someone else would have taken care of it. But I knew he would be coming back and I wanted to chat the fuck up. So they do their thing and, you know, time passes. I was really zooted. I honestly don't remember. I wouldn't be surprised just because of the amount of times I've been fucked up at that job. Statistically, it'd be smart to bet that I was. But they come back eventually. Esther had gotten a couple of things, some like bullshit candy bar and maybe a Coke. I don't remember. It's not relevant. And Solo like tells me he has both the bars. One that's like a standard milk chocolate and he got one that's a cookies and cream. In my head, I'm like, shoot, I didn't even know there were an option for flavors, but damn, like I want to try the whole spectrum. Like he's like, well, which one do you want? And in my head, I'm just like, damn, like I was hoping that we would be able to like split them shits down the middle, you know? Because I was holding these and I was kind of hoping that you'd take like a couple of pieces and stuff like that, you know? Like I was hoping that it was like a concentrated dose or just anything where I didn't have to take the whole bar. Like that would be pretty lame, you know? I was hoping to get like a couple of events in, and realistically I did, but I bought way more chocolate bars after this point, which, you know, quite evident. The Shroom Saga, episode 1, here we are. I'm eyeing the bars and I just bring it up to him and I'm just like, dude, which one do you want? And he looks at me and he's like, he definitely knows which one he wants. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, I don't give a damn, I just want to get fucked up. Like it's probably gonna taste like Garbo anyways. It doesn't really matter with fake chocolate or real chocolate, it's still gonna taste like mushrooms. So in reality, these were some amazing tasting bars with a really solid texture that wasn't that grainy. It was really smooth actually. But I'm eyeing these bars and he tells me like, nah bro, I want the cookies and cream. I could tell that he really wanted it, and so I just, why can't we split? And he was like, oh, and I see like the light dawn on him, you know, the bulb. You see, like, Solo, a very good friend, he himself will tell you sometimes he's not the sharpest shed in the tool. All said, he hands me those 2 bars, and since I kind of can free float more and he has to really stick at the self checkout lane and be watching that, he lets me just walk off, and I literally just walk straight behind the guest service desk, walk behind the wall, and just break these bitches in half. I open the wrapper like a bag of chips so that I'd be able to slide the bars out, and then I just take one half of his, one half of mine out, and just fix it. There's like 10 pieces per bar, so we each got 5 of each flavor, one cookies and cream, the other the milk chocolate. And something else too about these, those 2 flavors, like the standard ones, were the only ones that had like somewhat original packing. Like all the other flavors were Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Reese's and like Fruit Loops and like stuff that did have the flavor of those things, but they were using like real brand packaging, and I'm pretty sure Reese's does not sell Shroom bars at the moment. All said, I get these bars situated, I give Solo his, I pocket mine, and don't think much about it. We kind of discussed a little bit about when we're going to take our first dose, and I'm down to take one as soon as he handed, but Solo's part of about being a good friend is that he keeps me in line and sometimes safe. I don't really make a lot of smart decisions, especially when substances are involved. Sometimes it's just very impulsive, very irrational. And he's like, bro, all due respect, do you remember that you have to drive home? And do you remember that drive is almost 40 minutes? And never taken psilocybin for it. He didn't say it that way, obviously, but like, we lay those steps out. I would have been making a very risky decision for my first time, and not to say that I haven't ever driven tripping, both intentionally and unintentionally. That's for another video. We'll get to that later on. We ended up parting our ways, and near the end of the night, I realized my bar is still in my pocket, but what I didn't really think about that much was how like tight my pockets were and how much body heat the human body has. And essentially, I fully melted that sucker. We never did figure out like where these Shroom chocolate bars ever came from. But all in all, my Shroom bar is literally liquid in a container. And I realized that because I put my hand in my pocket and I touch something and I bring my hand back out, and the wet sensation that made me jump is melted white chocolate on my fingertips. Yes, I did lick it, but I realized I have a problem. I got chalky in my pants. I don't want to have a Shroom chocolate pocket. I want to have the Shroom chocolates in my stomach, you know? And I'm not willing to just take the entire thing at once because 1, I've never taken these, 2, don't know how they affect me, and yeah, like just would have been a bad idea. But I managed to like set it flat in my locker, and I think it'd be fine. I just like leave it there, hoping no one opens the locker that's unable to be locked. Just praying nobody freaking sees it, because those lockers are broken as hell. I managed to make it through the rest of my shift. I dapped up Solo. I hit a couple more puffs off my cart, and I was on my merry way. And that's where we're gonna leave it for the first episode of the Shroom Saga. And we're gonna pick up on the next morning where I took my first dose of psilocybin and went completely bonkers in front of my mom and granddad. I think this video is getting a little long. Y'all be safe. Peace.